Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. It's Monday, the 25th of November, 1 month to go, Jed, until Christmas. How are you feeling?
Feeling fine, Anthony. Yeah, weird weekend, I think, for everybody, weather-wise. And yeah, it was, I can't believe Saturday the snow, and then yesterday morning, the snow all disappeared. So it was just bonkers.
It was just one of those kind of 12 hours of chaos that...
Yeah.
Listen to the Clyde Super Scoreboard thing on Saturday afternoon. It seemed to affect absolutely every game, apart from ours, because it was so late in the evening. But I don't think a single game on Saturday in the top division went to plan, apart from ours. So like everything was a different kickoff at 3:15, 5 to 4, whenever and however they could get the games going.
I know, we're doing it. You know, not one game was called off in the top division, so well done.
Yeah, no, I would give them that. There was a bit of a debate and a bit of kind of devil's advocate getting played on Super Scoreboard on Saturday with it. Like, you know, the referees would be damned if they do and damned if they don't. Some people were asking why would you not call the game off or do a pitch inspection early and just call it off to stop fans travelling. But if they did that too early, people would then be shouting, well, at 4 o'clock you could have got a game on, look, it's fine.
Yeah.
So they were damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I'm with you. Fair play. Credit where it's due to them sometimes. They got all the games going, no postponements in the top flight. And long may something like that continue.
Yes.
It was, as I say, long may that continue. Let's just say, long may the results like that continue for a little bit longer, because if it's extra points on top of the Mankey Mob and a wee bit of daylight between us and the sheep, I'll take that as a weekend all day long.
Bill, Anthony, I can remember a good number of years ago when Larson was playing, we played Hearts in a night game and the weather was horrendous. And I think sure it was a Sunday night then. And the game went ahead, and if memory serves right, Larson at 2 or 3 that game. And I just had a wee feeling as well. The conditions, you know, I just remember back to that time, I thought we were going to win tonight. So, and luckily we did. But we'll come on to that anyway.
Yeah, we'll come on to that a wee bit more anyway. But let's start with a broad outlook then, if we just dive into the game, Jed. I'll hold my hands up to the viewers just in case this ends up sounding like I'm a bit wishy-washy at times. I watched as much of the game as I could live whilst I was working at the same time, so there's bits that I've missed. However, I've seen all the goals and I've caught up with as much as I can. But there's going to be some key incidents that I might overlook myself, so at any time you want, Jed, please do fire in. But before we get too deep into the moments that defined the game, just overall, what did you think of the game? First half performance, second half, overall?
Well, again, it was that old saying, it was a game of two halves. I was screaming the first half, I thought our midfield was non-existent. If they'd taken the 3 of them off, I don't think any of them could have complained. And my Idah as well. But, you know, credit where it's due, the second half has certainly turned things around. But if you look as well, Anthony, that's our last 2 league games have been away from home to grounds that we have struggled with over the last 5-10 years, however you want to look at it. But let's be honest, you would have bitten your hand off to have 6 points in the last 2 games, and not to play as good as what we have done, and still get the 6 points, I think, is even sweeter.
Yeah, I'd agree there. I said it after the Kilmarnock game. Those are games, Rugby Park, that pitch, you just want the 3 points, get out of Dodge, and preferably no injuries. We did that last time with a clean sheet as well. This weekend, obviously, we didn't manage to keep the clean sheet. Credit to Hearts, that was a good goal. But as you say, it's one of these games at Tynecastle. They've reduced our fan allocation quite considerably, which we've covered before in here, and it's their prerogative. Okay. If I had the choice, I wouldn't have any Rangers fans at Celtic Park. So if Hearts want to follow suit with Hibs, I think started it over that way as well. They all want to start being kind of cutting their nose off to spite their face as far as income is concerned, because you look at the stadium on Saturday, it was half empty. If they want to do that, that's their prerogative. I've generally got no problem with it, because I wouldn't mind seeing similar at Celtic Park with minimum away support as you can, especially when it comes to to that lot across the city. But you're right in saying that even with the fan kind of decrease, it's a tricky ground to go to, Tynecastle. You've seen scrappy wins, you've seen the atmosphere getting against us, and almost the scrappy wins, or even the emphatic wins, they really feel like something, like you've earned it when you go to these places. So either side of the international break, European games on the back end of both of them as well. Well, before Kilmarnock, and we've got Club Brugge coming next. You kind of would be forgiven to say that Celtic might, I wouldn't say take it easy, but they would be managing themselves through these games, try not to get injuries, try not to overexert where they might cause issues later on in the game and or into perhaps the Club Brugge game coming up this week. So for me, first half, as you said, game 2 halves. First half was it felt lethargic at times, which is a bit off when you've had a week and a half, 2 weeks off due to the international break. But it felt like we were just trying to manage our way through it. But listen to Brendan Rodgers post-match with Celtic TV, he acknowledged that the way that Hearts were pressing us, you've seen it with a few incidences, 2 or 3 men on the ball pressing against us. It made it harder. We weren't passing and playing the space a bit as fast as we could. And in the second half, I think we definitely seen that change. And we got a reward for, 3 great goals and a good penalty by Idah at one point. So good game overall, I think, considering tough ground, what's coming up with the European game. And to still score 4 goals, come away with all 3 points. I'm on top of that. Oh,
Sorry.
Jeff.
Language just fell. Sorry about that.
You got a wee bit excited, didn't you?
Yeah.
But let's dive into the incidents first. And I say the incidents, I don't feel there was too much off the ball incidents. There wasn't too many dirty fouls there's no Yang red card to hark back to, I don't presume, from what I've seen so far. So we'll kind of cover a wee bit of the first half there. I'll just jump straight into the goals at this stage, and we'll touch on the first goal. It's a ball that comes in and it's cleared by the Hearts player, and it ricochets. I presume that's off Cal McGregor before bouncing forward to Kyogo, who's in that kind of area where he's turning and he's trying to get his shot off. It bounces off Craig Gordon. He's quick to react for the second ball and put it in the back of the net. Something that Kyogo looks lively when he's up that end. He's had a couple of chances as well in the game where I think Craig Gordon's actually made quite a few good saves at one point. I think he's had 3 good saves at one point with Kyogo, Kuhn, and somebody else had a shot. But the first goal itself, I think it was a nice enough goal considering the quick reactions from McGregor to kind of stop the clearance, the quick reaction from my Kyogo as well. How did you see the goal? Were you?
Well, I don't think I'm the only one. When the goal went in, I actually didn't even shout because I thought this is going to be offside. I just had a feeling it was offside, but when you seen the replay of it, he's onside a mile. And I mean, it was brilliant for Cole because it was only not even 5 minutes prior to that. He missed that great chance. Give credit to Craig Gordon, he made a really good save, but he redeemed Kyogo redeemed himself, and it was just, he was in the right place at the right time for that ball to ricochet off. I mean, a crazy goal for Hearts to give away, but look at it. I was just delighted, but like I couldn't jump, I couldn't celebrate it because I actually thought it was going to be offside. But the second goal, definitely.
Yeah, it had that element. I think everybody was probably holding out for the block from Cam McGregor was that contact at a point where Kyogo was offside. But as soon as you see the replay, it was clear to everybody.
But Anthony,
definitely on.
What was playing in my mind, because earlier I watched a little bit of the game from across the city, and the Dundee United goal, straight away you knew it was onside, but they looked at every angle to try and think, how can we disallow this? And so that was playing in the back of my mind when the goal went in. I thought, well, that's offside. Just because when you first look it was, but you can clearly see the boys playing them on. So yes.
Aye. No, definitely. And there's no doubt about the second goal, which came, I think it was about 4 minutes later. A counter-attack in itself, and it's Kuhn that breaks just before the centre circle, plays it forward to Idah, who I've been known to criticise Idah quite a lot on here for his kind of rush of blood to the head moments. He's quite unorganised chaos kind of approach to football, and he's kind of like a love to hate kind of, or hate to love sort of figure with Idah at times. And he's got to go 100%. He's got to go down as a cult hero for Celtic, but his instincts when that pass comes from Kuhn as they're both breaking through the middle on the counter. It's where things like this is where, for me, Idah, he shines the most. He doesn't think about things too much. He knows the ball's coming in, and he can see that Kuhn still run into acres of space, and it's just quickly passes it straight back. Kuhn then finishes the run off with a brilliant shot into Craig Gordon's near post. For me, that is goal of the month contender. I'd be stretching it to say goal of the season because I'm expecting quite a lot more to be added in, but that's got to be up there for goal of the month. Just the way we break the counter, the intuitive 1-2 with Idah, and a superb strike from Nicolas Kuhn.
The finish, the pace, the power and the pace on it was phenomenal. I mean, if you look back at when we won the ball in our own penalty box, then it got headed out, and it was Idah headed it onto Kuhn.
Was it? Yeah.
And started running, and then Kuhn played the ball to him. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it was a great pass because I thought he'd have played it in front of Idah so Idah could go. And then Idah played it back just a little bit further again, but then Kuhn just on his left foot just absolutely buried it. Craig Gordon had absolutely no chance. And I think if you listen to the commentary, even Chris Sutton, you could hear him, wow, it was an absolutely, what a finish it was.
That was absolutely superb. I do apologise to the chat. It's I'm not the best for multitasking, but I'm reading some chat on the side there. FYI, it's the Spain away, and I want to see it's the 1996.
Anthony also as well. I can't see the comments unless you put them up. For some reason, I don't get them.
I do apologise.
No.
I say there's a wee bit of debate. People wondering if it's 2000, France 98, or the Euros. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm firmly believing it is the 96 away shot for Spain. I do have the home. It's one of the very few that I actually have the home and away kind of pairing. Although I know Gavin on the podcast has a lot more traditional older shots that kind of have a complete collection as such. But this is one of my favourite ones, one of my preferred, but I've not actually worn it in quite a while. So yeah, back to the game then. So we've got the second goal. I think everybody's probably thinking the same thing that I was thinking at this point, was the first half wasn't the greatest. It's still not quite the 60th minute. We're 2-0 up, and this is away to Hearts. We need that third goal. We eventually do get it. I think it's around about the 78th, 77th minute, and it's a reasonably well-worked goal again. It's substitutes coming into the game to play a part. I think it's Bernardo, and Idah, and who else was it? Somebody else. I'm sure there's a third one that was somewhat involved in it. But Bernardo, there's a bit of a kind of pinball effort on the edge of the box. Bernardo makes his run forward to collect the ball to then slip it into Idah, who has a nice touch on him and has a nice finish. And again, I've criticised Idah on here plenty of times, quite happily, but credit where it's due. He had a poor game against Kilmarnock, but his cameo, his substitute appearance on Saturday, Jed, for me, he had a really good game. It was only maybe 25 minutes or so he's on the pitch, but I think he had a really good game. I think all the subs made a difference, made an impact. We needed that third goal, as we saw when Hearts get their goal back, and we then needed the fourth one just to make sure the win was emphatic enough. But back to the third goal there with Idah. How did you find the goal? How did you think Idah played overall, just as we talk about him, because he is a bit of a hot topic at £9 million as he hitting his form, but that goal itself, Jed?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was Bernardo and Atati. They got a lot. The ball broke, kindly to us, but the pass, Bernardo's pass to him it just took the defender right out of the game, and then a wee finish just underneath the. Well, Gordon got a little touch to it, but great finish, and that'll do Adam Idah, give him the confidence. I mean, listen, I know the price tag, but it's not his fault. That's the price tag. Same with Angles, It's not his fault. He can own. That's up to the selling club and the buying club what they're willing to pay. That's it. The player has no say on what the transfer fee is. And if you look, he has scored some big goals for us since he's came in on loan last season, and then this season as well. And if you look back, probably his best game he's ever had was the night we won the league in Kilmarnock when they played him from the start.
Yeah,
he was unplayable in that game, and I think that was when all the fans were saying, "Yeah, you've got to sign this guy. You've got to sign this guy." And I've said on the podcast as well, I felt when Idah first came in this season, I thought he looked as though he was carrying a little bit of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks a lot leaner and fitter now. I mean, I don't think he's going to start on Wednesday night. But listen, he's a great player to bring on as a sub. When we need to change it a little bit, we want a bit more physicality. He can certainly do that better than Kyogo can. Kyogo makes the runs that Idah can't. But also as well, you've got in the second half, Atati was a totally different player in the second half. But that was just a wee tactical change from Brendan Rodgers as well. And Atati, I mean, he actually lasted the 90 minutes. I'm sure he did.
Which isn't often.
Which is unusual. But then the debate will come up, what will be the midfield on Wednesday, but again, we'll come to that. But listen, Idah, there's still a lot of fans don't think he's worth it. But guys, I keep bringing up, when you've got a player like Colin McBurney who was bought for 20 odd million 4 or 5 years ago, that's just the price. Because he is 10 times, if not 20 times the players what that boy is, McBurney. Adam Idah is a far better player. And if you look at his fellow countrymen, he can't get a game for Brighton now, Ferguson. Brighton's like £100 million for that guy.
Uh-huh.
It's an absolute joke. But again,
that's the market they're in, though.
Yeah, that's not the player's fault. It's the club. That's the club. You want them. You want a player. That's what you're going to have to pay. Nonny's done us with it, and so did Uzberg done it with Engels as well. And by the way, we do it. We've done it with Jota. We've done it with Matt O'Reilly. No, that's the figure we want. Now, luckily, Aberdeen done it as well with Bojan Majewski. They held out for what they wanted.
Potentially, we might be about to do it with Burnaby if things are to be relieved in Brazil.
Yeah,
I know this is more of a review of the game kind of podcast, but we'll delve into some aspects as we can because we don't all appear on a 4-hour Wednesday night double pivot effort. But I've criticised the Idah saga, the Idah transfer plenty of times, and I think plenty of people agree with me, have the same kind of opinion, and plenty of people think, that's the money you need to pay and you want to play, you pay it. And I get that perspective, but I don't think it's any secret that Norwich completely rinsed us for £9 million for Adam Idah. I'm not saying that he's not worth signing, but they knew we wanted him because he had a good season, a good kind of few months, half season on loan with us, and we wanted him. And then I think, was it Cairo took a small knock at the start of the season and it almost kind of ramped up our need to bring Idah in. So Norwich took advantage of the situation of us, which is understandable, but we potentially are about to do the same with Burnaby, where the rumours are of 8.5 to 10 million pounds or euros it is. Keep in mind we only paid about 3.5 million for him, and he's a flop as far as we're concerned. But he's lighting it up in Brazil, where he was at Independiente.
Yeah,
it's interesting that we might be able to do similar, where we can recoup twice, if not more, what we pay for him. to send him back to South America, and he'll be happy there. But that's the price tag that, I guess at the end of the day, it's the same as us with Idah. It's the price tag that he's worth to us, and we're willing to pay at the end of the day. Do I think we paid too much for Adam Idah? Yes. Do I think getting $8.5 million for Burnaby is daylight robbery in our favour? 100% yeah, it is. But if the buying club value him at that and want to pay it, so be it. Who are we to judge? And again, at the start of the season, I was on here with well, not the start of the season, but into the season, I was on here with Stephen, and Adam Idah just scored his, I think it was his 5th goal. And I sat here and I counted up, well, that's kind of like the first month he scored 5 goals. There's 6 months to go. If he scores X amount of goals in this time frame, he's going to score near 20, 25 goals in a season. Is he worth the purchase? 100%. Now, he's been off the boil a little bit since then, but he's still got 7 goals. I've just done the maths on the side there, and I think it's about 500 and odd minutes. It works out he scores a goal every 82 minutes. That, without being
look at Kyogo, 150 games for Celtic and 80 goals.
80 goals, phenomenal return. Yeah. But if Adam Idah is able to do something like, was it 7 goals and 17 appearances, but the minutes is only about 580 or something like that, his return is still good. And Saturday, there's 2 goals where we needed the 3rd goal to make things easier. And then we'll get onto the penalty as well. It wasn't maybe the deciding penalty that he had against Motherwell, but there were necessary goals to make life easier for ourselves in a tricky away ground where if we didn't get that 3rd goal and then say Hearts got the one back and it's 2-1 going into the last 10 minutes, that's a situation nobody wants to be in. So every goal counts, especially at that kind of stage.
Yeah, I mean, when we did get the goal and then obviously Hearts got their goal, I was staying calm because I actually thought back to the Leipzig game where I felt the last 10 minutes we totally just ran the clock down, get possession, and we done that again on Saturday night. So we did, and it was just, like I said earlier, the last 2 away games, not grounds we like to go to, and we've came away with 6 points. So we have.
Yep. I mean, what is it? 2 points we dropped all season.
Yeah, and I looked today. The same day, 25th of November last year, we had played 14 league games instead of 12, and we are at the moment on 34 points after.
Yeah, I'll tell you what on that. Yep.
Yeah, after 12 games. Last season, at the weekend, we won 35 points, playing 2 games more, and we just came off a weekend draw at home against Motherwell. We scored in the 86th minute, and Motherwell scored in the 90th.
Mm-hmm.
So
and there you go. Yeah,
we're averaging 3 goals a game.
So
in the league.
I think my maths is right, but I don't know if the way that I'm looking at it is the correct way. But would this make us be at the 2 games in hand over last season? But 5 points. Does this make us like 5 points better off for the season?
Yes.
And yet we're only at the kind of the third mark of the season. And we're 5 points better off, but we're also, was it 8 points on Aberdeen?
Yeah. And if you look, I looked, I'm sure Aberdeen were on 12 points this time last year. So look where they have improved tenfold.
Easily, yeah.
But I just thought I was trying to get how many goals he scored. I just couldn't find it. I was just trying to use a comparison to see how we've progressed this season. And we've certainly progressed moving forward and attacking. The final third of the park, we certainly are more mobile, and a lot of that's down to Kuhn as well.
I was just going to say, just look at what Nicolas Kuhn's doing. He's absolutely phenomenal. There is a website, there's 1 or 2 websites actually, and I always have to Google them, and I never Google the term right to get the website quickly, so I'll not waste my time just now doing it. Mm-hmm. But there's a website you can find that's basically like this time in whatever season you want, so you can go to like season 21-20 at week 34 or the date of it, and you can then compare it. So there is websites you can basically go through the stages of the season to compare it. I'll hunt one off for you at some point.
Yeah, bro, because I was actually,
like it just
like
see that.
the day when I was having my lunch, I was actually wanting to look at last season's and then the season before under, and
Yeah,
I was just for my own like how we performing, how the goals, etc. go. I think we've only, here we go again, sorry. We've only conceded, I think, 4 goals in the league.
Something like that, yeah. It's really, Casper Schmeichel's been fantastic. I mean, you look at his performance against Kilmarnock, was it 18, 19 shots and didn't concede?
No, that's the biggest. And we're averaging almost 75% possession in every league game.
It's enormous stats.
That's I know.
I'm not sure.
At the end of the day,
not sure if we can get those stats. We got a wee freezing moment with Jed there. Let's see if we can get him back on. I'd say to Jed though, there's a website I'll link to him as well for everybody's benefit. I'll try and see if I can hunt one out for you, but it's like seeing the league table this time last year sort of thing, or this time last season, or at whatever date you want to pick. So it would be actually quite good to compare season on season, position on position, to see how, as Jed says, how better we're scoring or not scoring. And the league positions, obviously, we're 2 games less played and 5 points better off, sort of thing, if you look at it that way. Pork Chops Express, Michael's been fantastic, or woeful. SPL finishing, I say he's been fantastic. You don't have 19 shots against you in a game like the Kilmarnock game and keep them all out without being fantastic. I struggled to accept or admit that Schmeichel was an upgrade on Joe Hart when he first came in the summertime. I'll kind of stand by that. My point was probably valid, that I think both of them are on a par with each other. I think both are very, very good goalkeepers, obviously in the twilights of their career. But it's taken a few months to probably really appreciate and think, right, Casper might be a slight upgrade in some areas to Joe Hart, and that's not to take anything away from Joe Hart. 19 shots, 18 off target from Portugal, plenty of them. I think Casper definitely is an upgrade, in parts to Joe Hart. I think he's starting to become quite a character in the dressing room as well. Also, none of us are in the dressing room to be able to say that for any sort of surety.
You hear me?
I think it's.
Sorry,
Hi, Jed. Welcome back.
I do not know what happened there. Sorry.
No, absolutely fine. I was just rambling on a bit more about the Casper Schmeichel thing. Just saying that at the start of the season, I was apprehensive about saying that Casper Schmeichel was an improvement or an upgrade on Joe Hart. I was very adamant that they were on par with each other. But I think now I would happily say that Casper is, in some aspects, better than Joe Hart. Although he's got a bit of ways to go to be a kind of fan favourite as Joe Hart became. Joe Hart became a really big character, not just with the fans and not just with the dressing room, but collectively as both. And I think Casper's probably getting quite there as well. Look at the Christmas film, the Christmas advert, for talking's sake. He must have cringed so much, but you don't allow that really shit joke of, "Are you a ghost?"
Yeah.
And the way that he delivers, that kind of, seriously, just get on with it, Joe. You don't accept that kind of level of banter that he's probably been ridiculed all his life with that name in the UK. But you don't accept that kind of banter at Celtic unless you are, kind of within the group sort of thing. So he must be having a big part in the dressing room, I'd imagine, a big character. And I think over the course of the season, he'll become a fan favourite for sure. If we keep him for 2 years, I think if we keep him for the 2 years,
the squad is phenomenal. I think everybody was delighted that we got him. And me personally, I think I love Joe Hart, but I do think Casper Schmeichel's an upgrade.
No, that's a fair point. At the start of the season, I would have argued it's too early to say that, but I think at this point is quite fair. So bringing on Casper Schmeichel and back to the game, we're now at the point where Hearts get the the goal back. I mean, it's 3-0 going on 3-1 at the stage, so there's no any massive concerns. But just to run through the goal slightly, it's a. Well, we need to bring it back just so I get this right. As I
lost the ball in the halfway
we lost the ball in
line.
the halfway line, and it's a strong enough run by the Hearts player to run through. I think it's Hattati and McGregor are kind of behind the player, so they do well.
If you want to be critical, they could. I felt as though they could have maybe run a bit quicker.
They could have ran a bit quicker, but I think they did well not to be rash. But then you've got Trusty and Taylor in front of them. Could one of them stepped out a bit quicker to close them down? I think I'd probably be nitpicking if I was to dig into that too much. But the shot itself was a fantastic shot. Casper outstretched to try and save it, wasn't able to get a firm hand on it. We can see that if that's them going 1-0 up, I'd be raging. But I think at this stage, 3-0, going on 3-1 for the goal, nobody can be too harsh. It's a great shot, great drive. Players could have maybe a bit sharper to it, but again, 10 minutes to go, 3 up. I think it's fair to give players a bit of a bye in that sense.
Yeah.
So then we move on to the fourth goal. It's a penalty shot. It's Adam Idah. Nice little turn in the kind of left side of the box to turn onto his right foot to try and lay off James Forrest, I think it was, who gets fouled. I don't think there's any arguments from any side as a Hearts. That's a foul. That's a penalty. And Adam Idah steps up, cool as a cucumber, cool as a Hindu's cow, as Gavin would say, and slots the penalty home for his brace for 2 goals against Hearts. And that sees off the game. Kind of not sure if there's much else you want to see on the penalty.
No, just the quality of the penalty, right in the corner. Keeper's
keeper went the right way.
It's in such a tight angle, right in the corner. It would need to go.
You can't ask for more. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to ask for much more than that. So that brings the game to a wee bit of a close. As I said at the start,
and no injuries, Anthony. Yeah. No injuries. Yeah, injuries going into Wednesday's game. That was another bonus.
There wasn't much else, was there, in the game? I say usually these games they bring up kind of like, oh, that should be a red card, or how did we not?
Idah got booked, and rightly so. He got booked. Yeah. It was a clear foul, and he took the boy's legs, so that was a deserved booking. But like you say, in the past, there's been some meaty challenges. It wasn't that sort of game. There it was.
No, I think it was a fair enough game overall, and I think, as we've said at the start and a few times already throughout, happy enough to get out the game with a comfortable win at the end, and as you said there as well, no injuries going into the week.
Yeah, and I think as well, again, credit to the players. Our discipline this season has been very good, both in league and Europe. So I hope I'm not tempting fate and jinx to be saying that, but we're
going to get 2 sent off on Wednesday, aren't we?
We've really, we're not putting in rash challenges, silly bookings and stuff like that. So yeah, onwards and upwards.
Now to you. So before we take a wee quick look at the Club Brugge game coming up on Wednesday evening, I think it is. We've kind of talked about Adam Idah a wee bit, so I won't dwell on him. There's a couple of players I want to bring up, or a couple of positions that I want to bring up, and just get your opinion on. First one is an easy one. We'll talk about Nicolas Kuhn. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely on fire. I think he's 11 goals and however many odd assists. I think he's well into the 20s for goals and assists contributions. How do you see Kuhn's season going here? There's obviously a lot of speculation and rumours that we might actually get big bids in January. Do you think it's likely that he leaves in January? Do you think we would have enough cover for him if he did? How long do you think we can hold on to him? Just overall, Jed, your opinion on Nicolas Kuhn, and where do you see him in the next 6 months to a year?
Well, I'm hoping he's still going to be at the club, but if he continues progressing the way he is at the moment, as you know, we are a selling club, and each player will have a price in their head. And if another club meets that valuation, the club will let him go with their blessing. He's a sort of player now, when he's on the ball, the fans are getting excited. Where is he going? You know, we're going to create a wee chance here. If he does go, do we have a replacement for him at this moment? No, we don't. We certainly don't, because Palmer, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to make it at the club. So I think in the summer, in the January transfer window, even if Kuhn stays, I do think we need to strengthen that position, because I can't see Palmer having much more game time with us, because he's just not producing it. Yeah, but we don't want to lose Kuhn in January. If he goes in the summer, okay, but not halfway through the season. That'd be a sore one for the fans.
I think we'd put out all those kind of stops to keep him until the summer.
I mean,
put all the stops. There's not much you can really do. But
how long is he still got in his contract?
Well, he only signed in January, so I kind of have to assume it was a 4.5 year deal.
We're holding the cards, aren't we?
Yeah,
you know,
I think if he continues this up, he's on 11 goals just now. We're a third of the way through the season.
Yeah,
I mean, he's easily going to hit 20 goals. He could actually hit 30.
If he has a good game, and he does have a good game on Wednesday, of course people are going to look at him even more, because they'll say, well, he's done it against Leipzig. He's in Europe, he's producing the goods, and that was always, people would have a dig at Scottish football. Oh, but you're only in a farmers league and things like that. So if he is producing it at that level in Europe, of course clubs are going to. Is he going to go to a top 4-6 team in England? I don't think so. But is he going to go to, say, a middle of the road, Aston Villa, Brentford? They sort of fill him, and they can offer him money we can't. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think something that might go against us, go in the favour of Nicolas Kuhn, is the clubs that he's came through previously. I saw this kind of point being made on social media. I think it's probably quite valid. If this was somebody that we had, say a Lil Abada, where we brought him from Israel, and he wasn't really known to European clubs too much, and he was starting to have a good season, Celtic, like his first season, I think a lot of clubs would probably just, all right, we'll take a wee bit of note, but we'll come back and see if he continues it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's maybe just a flash in the pan sort of situation. But I think because Nicolas Kuhn came through, was it Leipzig, Ajax, and Bayern, they've all had a look at him. And now he's hitting the heights of, 23 years old. They might start to think maybe he just needed to find his feet for a couple of years. Maybe he just wasn't ready, but they all know the attributes he could have had and should have.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's hitting that form. So there might be a bit more interest in him that other clubs are aware of him previous to this, and now might just deem this as the moment where he's now hitting form. So maybe they want to get in now before he really excels.
Well, Anthony, can I ask, people was watching, again, I'm relying on you to bring up the comments. Is he on par with Jota? Is he better than Jota? I don't know.
I think if we had Jota on the left and Kuhn on the right, we would be absolutely lethal. Especially with Kyle through the middle, I think we would have one of the most, out with the obvious Real Madrid's, Man City's, where you Haaland and stuff, obviously out with that caliber. People always look at teams like Ajax a few years ago, had the run to the semi-final. Leipzig have kind of sprung up a few times and looked tasty in the European competitions and whatnot. I think if we had those two in the same team, we would be a team, especially the way we're performing just now in Europe, we'd be a team that a lot of clubs around Europe and a lot of fans around Europe would be like pleasantly surprised and quite intrigued and excited by what Celtic are doing with that kind of attacking firepower. if we had Jota on the left and Kuhn on the right. Is Kuhn better than Jota? I don't want to say yes, but I think he is. I think Jota's got so much going for him, and he's the entertainer, the flashy kind of player, the on the edge of your seat kind of player that Celtic fans love to see. Nicolas Kuhn is a wee bit more direct about things. He's a wee bit more of a worker.
Yeah, it reminds me of Patrick Roberts.
Yeah, Patrick Roberts with a bit more to him. Mm-hmm. I think I prefer watching Jota, but I think the end product and the end return this season, at least from Nicolas Kuhn, I think it's better than what Jota was. So there's a preference, but I think the raw stats are going to say that Nicolas Kuhn is the better player.
Well, Ben, let's see at the end of the season where he starts and everything is, because if he keeps on going the way he is, it's going to be phenomenal. I said weeks ago, a long way to go, but he's certainly Scotland's Player of the Year so far.
Oh, 100%. It's going to take some going at this stage for Nicolas Kuhn to suddenly flop and go off the deep end and absolutely crash bomb his season. Yeah. And then at the same time, it's going to take somebody to massively step up beyond. I mean, you look at Alistair Johnston, he's having a fantastic season as well. But if Johnston was to keep this level up for the rest of the season, he'll go out as a great season. But Nicolas Kuhn will outshine him. Unless Johnston was to step it up another level while Kuhn dropped off the face of the cliff. But that's hardly going to happen. I have stats here just to move it along a wee bit, Jen. I've got stats here which I didn't realise this was the way it was. Nicolas Kuhn has 11 goals. Do you know who our next top goal scorer is?
It'll be Keogh.
Idah with 8. Then it's Adam, Idah, and Kerrigan both with 7. And Adam Idah is third, probably by the default of playing less minutes. Did not expect Idah to
a
be
lot of goals
second.
Coming from all over the park. You know, look at Alistair John McGregor. We have scored a lot of goals from every department and out of the 11 players. I mean, it's certainly good to watch.
100%. I mean, you're looking at.
You don't want to be too reliant on one player anyway.
McGregor's got 5. Engel's got 3. Bernardo's got a couple. I'm just running through the stats quickly. Hatate's got 4. Alistair Johnston's got 4 as well. Didn't realise that. Even Liam Skill's got a couple of goals. What that shows
me is we are not reliant on one player in the squad.
No, not at all. And that's just for the league.
Yes. So if a player does go out, it shouldn't impact on our performance as much because we're getting goals all over the place. I
take that back. That's not for the league. That's overall.
But that's fine. So overall, it's still they've scored that amount of goals. So you can, it's clear to see we are scoring from everywhere. Defenders, fullbacks, midfielders, wingers, strikers. I mean, if I listened to Radio Clyde tonight very briefly, and they were telling us, they were saying, reading out stats that like St Johnstone and Dundee United have scored more league goals than Rangers this season. I mean, I never in a million years did I think. Nuts. I know that is nuts. So let's be thankful we are not relying on one player. Where if that player got injured, we're snooker.
So a quick look how this is a random tangent here on stats of goals. A quick look on where our goals are coming from, and bear with me as I try and put this into words. I'm looking at the defence, I'm looking at the midfield, and I'm looking at the strikers. Not many players haven't scored. I think the most obvious one, and to be fair, he's only started 6 games, played 10 overall, I think it is James Forrest. Maidah's got goals, Engels has goals, Kuhn, Idah, McGregor has goals. You're looking at Holm doesn't, but he's only had 3 sub appearances. Luke McKeown's got a couple of goals.
Forrest, I have no doubt Forrest will score this season. Team keep it going every season.
Oh, 100% he will. But Lewis Palmer, he's another one that's not got any goals yet, as does Yang. But they are so far out of the first team squad that I wouldn't even count them.
So Anthony, you mentioned 3 players there who are wingers, okay?
Yeah.
And you mentioned 5-10 minutes ago about if Kuhn goes, have we got a replacement for him? No, we haven't.
No, we haven't. That's the answer there, isn't it? You have to go to the defence to find any player who you would deem as like a starter who hasn't scored yet. All the midfielders have scored. All the regular midfielders have scored numerous goals, as have the front 3. And you're getting to the point where it's Alex Valle and Austin Trusty and Greg Taylor. That's your 3 players who haven't scored, which you don't expect them to.
I'm willing to put, I'm not a gambling man, but put money on Trusty will get a goal last season as well.
I think he will. I don't see how he wouldn't, to be honest.
And it looks as though moving forward, Trusty and CCV are as the preferred partnership at the back.
I would think so, yeah. Which is a shame for Scales, but I've said it plenty on here that we need that upgrade.
We needed it, and look, he's been the last season and this season so far. He's been phenomenal, but we did need that little step up, and I do believe we've got that step up now in Trusty.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And just to bring it on again, now that we bring up the defence, the left back position. Just a brief, how you feel about it? If we look at the left back and think Greg Taylor's situation with his contract, he's not signed a new contract yet. I know the guys were talking about this the other night. You look at Alex Valle, he seems to almost not be favoured anymore in favour of Greg Taylor. The Kieran Tierney situation is, would you take him back? Would you look at keeping the 2 that are already here? Yeah. Left back seems to be the ongoing issue. What's your opinion on it?
Well, I actually put in their chat last week. I do believe Taylor deserves a new contract, but I don't think he would be my number 1 left back. I do believe we need an upgrade in that department. And again, I've said as well, no, Kieran Tierney's been mentioned. I don't know if Kieran Tierney is the answer anymore. Is he too injury prone? Look, he's a phenomenal player. So Kieran Tierney is, but can we take a chance on him? I know we'll probably get him for cheapest chips if he does come, but it's his wages. I would like to go out and get a more physical left back, someone who's a bit taller as well, but can still maraud up and down the park that Taylor does. But listen, these sort of players are very hard to get, and if there is one out there, he's probably playing at a much higher level anyway.
Very possible. It's a sought after position, a left-footed defender, let alone a left back itself. If we could find an Alistair Johnston for the left, that would be superb. And that would give us great balance at the same time. For me, I'm with you. Greg Taylor, if he was to sign a new deal, absolutely fine with it. I know the guys were speaking the other night about how much money that wage package would be. But I'm with you. If he was to sign, we definitely need an upgrade on it. It is the weak area, that left back and left sided centre back. Still to be seen how good Austin Trusty will become as a partnership. Maybe that kind of resolves a little bit of the issue there. But based on last season, the start of this season, that left-sided defence is our weak point, no matter what way you want to cut it. I don't want that to be negative on the players like Liam Scales and Greg Taylor, who performed very, very well for us. It's just that area of the pitch where I think is our weakest point that we do need to improve on. And I'm happy for Greg Taylor to stay. But if it involves throwing a contract at him where he ends up being on 25,000-30,000, and yet in my head, he still has to be the backup and we need a first teamer, then how much are you going to pay the first teamer that you sign if your backup's being paid 25-30? So in that sense, I don't think it would be worth signing him at that value. But then again, if you was to accept 15 to 20, which I'd imagine is the ballpark way around it is just now, just in approved terms, then he's fine as a backup. he'd be fine. I'd be happy going into next season actually with him and Alex Valle as the two options. I wouldn't have too much of a grumble there, with my hope that Alex Valle would be the one to develop beyond the level of Greg Taylor is just now. But I'm with you that overall, it's the position that needs upgraded the most. I think you see it in domestic seasons and in European games. It's the position that we get targeted is down our left side.
If you look as well, I know people say January isn't usually the best time to sign players, but we have been lucky or fortunate in signing players in January who have turned out to be really good for us. I mean, go back a few years ago when it was Ronnie Dyler, when we signed Armstrong from was it Dundee United or Aberdeen, same with Mackay Stevens. And Armstrong was a fantastic signing for us. And he came in January. And Alistair Johnson came in January. You know, Adam Idah came in January.
The three Japanese boys.
Yeah. Let's not kid ourselves. We have not even spent. We brought more money in transfers in the summer than what we did spend. So we've got money still to spend. You know, 100%. The money we brought in
100%.
from O'Reilly and a few of the French players that we still went for a good few million. We're still probably got 14 million of that tucked away. So
and that's before you even talk about the 70 to 80 million in the bank.
And then
plus the Champions League money again.
Listen, if we win the game on, I do say, if we win the game on Wednesday night, is that another 2 million?
Something like that, yeah. It's a ballpark 2 million per one.
So I know the club they don't want to overstretch themselves. I can totally understand that. But we have to speculate to accumulate. So we have to go out. The way the market is as well, if you're buying £1 million player, you know, it's every sign is a risk, whether it's £1 million or 10 million. But stats should show you buying a more expensive player should give you better returns.
Yeah,
should.
You buy the better experience.
But it's not necessarily the case. I do think you mentioned there, I mentioned it earlier, the two positions we need to strengthen, ideally in January, is a left back, and we need another winger. And we possibly could be looking at another striker as well.
So I would be happy in January for, let's pretend we get Greg Taylor on a new deal. I'd be happy with January where we make the permanent deal of Alex Valle, and that just puts. I would agree that still we maybe want better overall, more ready experience overall. But I'd be happy with left back.
I'm looking for a fortune for him, Anthony.
It would depend on how much. We really would. I know he signed a new contract, and I think it's believed his buyout clause was 30 million. But in Spain, you have to have a buyout clause. So I wouldn't look into that as that's the target you need to hit. It's just a buyout that they need to have in contracts in Spain. But I would expect that they would want a good few million from him. But if we would make that deal permanent, get Greg Taylor on a new deal. There's strong rumours about this ongoing for a couple of seasons now. This there's a Danish boy, Matthias Fiskgarden.
Yeah, he's a big tall guy.
He's an attacking winger, centre forward kind of thing. I'd be happy with the left back situation sorted. Fiskgarden coming in, and then maybe looking at that project striker, that 18, 19-year-old that you might sign from the back end of nowhere. And for January, keeping everybody else who's in our main 11, obviously guys like, Holm, if he was to move on, or Yang was to move on January, I wouldn't bat an eyelid at that, to be honest. But if we keep the core team and add those kind of three names that I've just mentioned, I think going into the summer, where we are going to have to play qualifiers, we'd be very well set. But the summertime, I would have to start presuming that you might lose Kuhn and you might lose Hatate. They need directly replaced to stay still, if not improve. Because if we end up selling Kuhn and bringing in a project, we're going to go back the way again. We need to keep trying to level up slightly, even if it's a stage of like what happened with Matt O'Reilly and Arnie Engels. And I can fully grasp and understand that Arnie Engels is still a bit of a development player, but £11 million, we're buying somebody who's got an entire season's kind of experience at a good level, that he's actually walking into the Belgium squad now.
Yeah.
And that's the experience that £11 million buys you for a guy who's actively competing with Hatate and Bernardo for starting spot in our 11. And that's great. But if we were to drop that down to like a £2-3 million project, we could be sitting here with another, Odin, Thiago Holmes situation where it's completely pointless.
Would you class, I know a lot of people, including myself, have been crying out about signing Lennon Miller, but keep him and give him back to Motherwell for
100%.
January. Young guy,
100%.
but I do think there is a hell of a lot of potential in this guy. And
100%. And
£4 million and say to Motherwell, listen, you keep him till we'll loan him back to you.
I'd even go up to 5-6 million. Yep, I'd even go up to 5-6 million, 20% sell on, keep him for the rest of the year.
Somebody told me he's only got a year left in his contract as of next summer.
He's still worth that 4-5 million.
Yeah,
he's still worth it to make sure he's ours and we get him in. As I said, with Engels there, we spent 11 million on Engels for the league he came from, the name and the experience that he's has already. Lennon Miller, okay, he's only 18. Arnie Engels is 21, so there's a couple of years of a difference there. But Lennon Miller has last season and now this season his experience in the SPFL. Yeah. He is ready to go. Yeah, I'd expect him to still, as any youngster, to have ups and downs, purple patches, hot spells, cold spells. I'd expect that regardless. But he's money you should put down, because I truly think he does walk into the match day squad next year without any issue.
And he would definitely get in the squad. I don't think he would start, but he would definitely get in the squad.
Yeah, but I would be prepared for, of the midfield that we have, the 5 guys, looking at Luke McCowan as well, that is the most likely to be sold next summer, because you're not selling your captain.
Yeah.
And you're not likely to sell McCowan, Bernardo, or Engels, who have all just signed. So Hatate is a possible one that might go. And that's where the space for a guy like Lennon Miller, who you would have Bernardo or Engels would have cemented their position, and Lennon Miller would play that rotational that we're seeing just now between Bernardo and Engels, who are both getting plenty of game time. That's the position. Once Hatate moves on, one of them bumps up, and Lennon Miller would walk into that kind of role. And I make that point because there's obviously a lot of debate and discussion I've had it plenty of times myself about the whole pathway, the game time experiences. A lot of youngsters don't stick around at Celtic because they don't see where they're getting the game time in the first team squad. I think it's there for a guy like Lennon Miller who's got that experience and is ready, but there's plenty of game time there without guaranteeing him starts, but also without kind of leaving him out in the cold, as we're now seeing with guys like Holm and have seen in the past. So yeah, I was with you 100% on how to do the deal. Throw a few million at him, let him stay there until the end of the season, give him the percentage of the profits of the next sale, because he's a talent that we can't let go.
No, I know. And can I ask you as well, Anthony, we mentioned Bernardo. Would you play Bernardo at the start on Wednesday over Engels? I think personally,
no. I'd play Engels.
Yeah, I think if no matter who gets, either one of the two gets picked, I think the fans will say that's fine, because Bernardo, and it's a nice position to be in.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by what I've just said with the midfield. Yeah. I expect if Hatate goes one and steps up to that more confirmed starting 11 position, and then Miller becomes the rotation with Idah. I think both of them, Engels and Bernardo, I think both of them are thereabouts to cement that position.
Yeah.
It's either one of them to take, and I think both of them are superb players. Bernardo's probably not had as much time as we would have hoped or expected, but that's to do with how good Engels is playing as well at times. And I also know that Engels hasn't always been brilliant, but as I said earlier, he's a younger guy. I expect hot and cold.
Take him time to settle. He's only, like you say, 21. It's going to take him time.
Yeah. I mean, it took Kuhn 6 months and he's 23.
Yeah,
so
exactly. We've seen enough in the first few games, and if you listen to what Callum McGregor said after his first training session, they thought, "Oh, who's this guy? We've got to play."
I mean, look at me. He's taken all the corners and free kicks already. He's a talent in the squad that people. Yeah. Which brings us on to then, just to start wrapping it up a little bit, the last kind of topic for the evening is Wednesday night's game against Club Brugge.
Mm-hmm.
I'll quickly just rhyme off what I would consider to be the starting 11. I'll let you, Jed, chime in if you think I've got anything wrong or if you would change it around. But I think it's probably quite an easy one to rhyme off. I don't think it's going to throw up any surprises. It'll be Castle Schmeichel on goals, Alistair Johnson on the right, Greg Taylor on the left, we Carter Vickers and Trusty in the middle. Midfield three of Hatate, McGregor, and I'm going to go with Engels because it is against a former club of his and it's in European competitions. And it's safe to say Kuhn, Idah, and Kyogo up front.
I cannot disagree with that, Anthony. That's what I personally think he'll start with. But like I say, if Bernardo gets brought in instead of Engels, I'll still be happy. But I just think that would be, because I'll be honest as well, in Saturday, I thought it maybe changed a little bit in the midfield. But Rodgers probably thought, well, I can't take any chance here. Let's win the game and make the substitutions, which he did. So that's how I cannot disagree with the starting 11 that you said there. And I don't think anybody else is watching would maybe come up with a different team. I can't see it.
No, if somebody wants to put in the chat, any real strong disagreements to that 11, then I'd be surprised. But toss it in the chat. Last couple of minutes we'll bring up. Yeah. Just looking at the past few games for Club Brugge, they're on 6 points.
Yeah,
they're on 6 points in the Champions League. We're on 7. They're sitting in, I think it's 22nd. We're sitting at 15th. So there's not much between us in the table. They beat Aston Villa 1-0. They did get beat off AC Milan, and they beat Sturm Graz 1-0. So that's their two wins with Sturm Graz and Aston Villa. Villa are not playing too great in the Champions League this season. I don't think they're playing too good in the EPL either. I'm just going to bring up their table just to double check.
They drew at the weekend with Palace as well at home.
Yeah, they're sitting 8th, 19 points. So they're actually playing not too bad, but they're not at the heights that they were last season, where they're chasing top 4 for the whole of the season. So Aston Villa there to be got it, but at the same time, Club Brugge, they're no mugs. We shouldn't be thinking this is coasting it. I think before the Champions League kicked off proper, we were probably thinking this is the 3 points that we should be actively looking to get because we need it, and we still do. But I think the results we've got already, I don't want us to get too cocky with them, but they might make this a little bit less pressure, and maybe that will work in our favour if the demand isn't, if we were sitting on 2 points at this stage. I'm
a little bit concerned in case we do go in thinking, we're at home, we're going to win. I was same with the Leipzig game. They're second in the German league. They were no mugs. We will have to play with the same intensity as we did against them on Wednesday night. The fans have got to play their part as well. I keep saying this on here. We need to. You heard what the Leipzig Kettle or something like that said. The fans, they couldn't cope with the noise it was getting to. We have to do that again. We have to be the 12th man.
I know I've not brought it up much, Jed. I'll just bring this up. This has basically been the chat on the side when I've been able to see it. It's about square sausages. It's about fish.
I don't.
It's just a chaos in there. Nobody's actually brought up anything about the start lineup on Wednesday. So there's the chat has been good. The guys have been fantastic. The usual people I do see in there: Strange Love, Pork Chops, 420 somewhere. Mix in there as well. Tam Burns. I see all the names. Patrick McLaughlin, Craig Young. The names are all there. The guys are usually here. So big shout out. I know we're not often as regular with our schedules we would like to be. I know Stephen and the guys have said this often enough that things get in the way sometimes, family life and work and stuff, but we're trying.
Right, we're struggling. They're not, because we have a lot of people have a lot of things on, and it's going to get worse over the next wee while because of coming up to the festive period. People will be out and about doing stuff, so it's going to be a struggle. But we'll always try and have a show once, twice a week.
3 times a week. You know how it is.
Yeah, I know. But just go back to Wednesday's game. I just want us. Listen, if we can get the 3 points, then we are in a fantastic position. But we have to get the 3 points.
Getting the 3 points in the 10 on 10 points as we start the second half of the fixtures. It would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely.
Are they a better team in Leipzig? No, they're not.
Nope.
So,
but they got a result against Villa, so you have to be careful.
Yes, and they've come off a great win at the weekend. So we have to up our game here. We have to move the ball quicker than what we did at the weekend. If we do that, and the fans get behind, then I do believe they'll crumble, because they'll panic. They will panic. But again, the fans, if we do the odd wee stray passes, we've got to stop moaning at them, stick behind them, because if we do, we will get the 3 points.
Yeah, they're not big goal scorers. I'm just looking at the table again. They're not big goal scorers when you think they're 2 wins with 1-0 wins, and Milan done them over with 3 goals. They're on -3.
Yeah.
For a goal difference, we're +7. No, we're not. My bad. We're on 0. I'm looking at the points there. We're on 0, but that evens out the disaster of Dortmund that we had. So they're not a team we should be scared of. Not by a long shot.
No.
But we shouldn't be looking at them, I don't think, as looking at the bottom of the table. This Slovan Bratislava straight down at the bottom of the table, rock bottom, as far down as they possibly can get. They're not going to be that walkover that they were. But it's at home and we're Celtic and it's Club Brugge. I think we should be confident of a win, but we need to give them the respect. Looking just briefly, very, very briefly, just because I've got the table up here. Dynamo Zagreb are actually joint points with us. They're one position below us, joint points. But looking back down at the bottom of that table, Young Boys of Bern, they're on 0 points as well. Is that, without getting ahead of myself, is that potentially the next easy 3 points, like Bratislava was?
But I hate to say it. Is any game easy? I hate.
I know what you mean. I don't want to be cocky.
I don't want to tempt fate. I just feel as though we are. If you look, that's our last 3 Champions League home games, including the one last season. We've won at home. The last 2 games at home this season, we're averaging 4 goals a game. We've scored 5 and then 3. So we're averaging 4 goals a game. If we can keep that going. Listen, if we can score 4 goals on Wednesday night, statistically in the bet, you'll get some odds to say we ain't going to win that game if we score 4 goals.
Yeah.
So that is, we have to come in the mindset. We have to move the ball quicker. So we do. We do need every player being an 8.
Yeah. I think with the next game being Zagreb away.
Yeah.
Again, people at the start of the campaign were looking at that as a potential nice away win, possibly if things went in our favour. But with them sitting level with us on 7 points, and the game again after Bruges, I think that's a game we need to take very seriously. But if we can get another 3 points on Wednesday night, it means that game is not as pivotal.
Yeah, I mean, win on Wednesday, go to Zagreb, and we know
what will be there.
If we get beat, it's not
the end of the world.
Yeah, where we do not want to go into the Zagreb game after getting beaten Wednesday night. We want to begin.
I agree.
And then that'll look after itself, and then we've got Young Boys, our last home game before we go down to Villa. So, look, it's in our own hands. It's a nice position to be in.
I agree, it is indeed. And on that note, it is now well over that hour mark. I told you before we went live that we're going to keep this nice and short, and it is nice and short compared to the double pivots and the Friday night fun fest that the boys love to have when they can. But we'll wrap it up here for the night, guys.
Predictions for Wednesday, Anthony?
Just about to get there. Yeah, I was just going to say, quick recap on the game. It was a good win at the weekend. Happy where we were at the league. Predictions for Wednesday night. It's at home. We are Celtic. I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory.
I'll take that. I'm going 2-0.
2-0. We'll see what it's like on Wednesday night. Guys in the chat, all the best. Thank you very much for being here. And the next time the Endless Celts are on, I have no idea. I'll presume it's Friday. What with the game being on Wednesday night, I don't imagine the guys will be able to make a podcast on it. But enjoy the game, guys, and hopefully we're celebrating a win come Friday. See you later, guys.
Cheers.